our next panel discussion focuses on gamification in education, how game-based learning can inspire and motivate students. So, for our panelists, I'm pleased to invite Ms. Pooja Singh, Principal, Seth Anandram Jaipuria School. Our second panelist would be Rajender Shah, Head National Curriculum, Shri, Educare Limited, Gurugram. Our third panelist would be for Dr. Navjot Kaur, Director of Administration, Quest International School. And our fourth panelist would be Dr. S.K. Rathor, Founder, Chairman, and MD, SANFORT Group of Schools. So, this discussion will explore the exciting potential of game-based learning to enhance student engagement and achievement. Let's welcome the panelists with a huge round of applause. And over to you, Shri.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Navjot Kaur, Director of Administration, Quest International School, Bathinda. And I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the EdTalk World Conferences for this wonderful opportunity, as this panel discussion today addresses the topic of gamification in education, game-based learning, how it would transform the education domain. And on board today, we have insightful panelists who are here to address the topic and share the wealth of their knowledge with all of us. So let me introduce Dr. S.K. Rathor, Founder, SANFORT Group of Schools, Rajender Shah, Head National Curriculum, Shri Educare Limited, Gurugram. And this panel today not only just addresses the importance of gamification in education, but it will even address the challenges and the changes in the global academic landscape. As the global academic landscape is witnessing a paradigm shift in the education domain, which is leading to changes in the role of institutions, pedagogical practices, and most imperatively, there's a major transformation in the education sector. That is, we are now shifting from rote learning, traditional teacher-centered approach, towards student-centric approach. That is experiential learning, even addressed by NEP 2020. Gamification in education is not just about games, activities, and fun learning. It's more about reimagining the learning experience for a child. It is something that inculcates in a child love for learning, which is the imperative factor. It fosters a classroom environment where the child is happy, a happy classroom, which is the most imperative, intrinsic element of our education. Gamification in education is something why I picked the topic, because personally I do believe in it. There are certain practices as policymakers, because we as directors, as founders, as principals, we are the policymakers. One change that we propose in our own institution sets an example for ample of other institutions too. And it impacts not just one life, it impacts thousands of students at the same time. This topic is close to me because gamification in education I started in my own institution in 2017, where we introduced experiential learning, not just in basic subjects, but in all the hardcore subjects too, like treasure hunt, developing a culture lab that was addressing to all the geographical indications of India, introducing fun quizzes. And treasure hunt was not just a treasure hunt, it was more related to chemistry questions, plant kingdom, animal kingdom, and most imperatively, the questions that was intriguing the children to learn and to be there 100%, give their 100%, the concentration level of the child. What I found out, yes, knowledge retention rises. The inquisitiveness definitely develops for a child. The cognitive skills are developing. The motor skills, they rise all of a sudden. And most imperatively, this was fostering concept clarity in children, which is the prime goal of education, that is to foster concept clarity, that they are clear with their concepts of every subject. And as we have this enlightening panel today, I hand over to Dr. S.K. Rathor to share Sir's insightful views and on this topic. So,
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody sitting inside the hall for making this conversation more meaningful. So gamification, what is today? This is a very beautified word, gamification. But हम तो सब खेल खेल में ही सीखे हैं. So I am सर यहाँ बैठे हैं गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशन से. I was listening very carefully. So I am a product of government school only, government university only. At my time, no, private college was there in the northern region of the country. So even in MCD school where I used to go, even in 10+2 Delhi administration school, lots of play happen to have there. Because वहाँ जब हम खेलते थे तो हम सीखते थे basically. Abhi, because of the beautification of the education, because of the fancy buildings, fancy infrastructure, and everything. I own a chain of a school though, but unfortunately we have made everything fancy. Same way we have made gamification fancy. So game means see, I started my journey in the education sector in year 2000. So 25 साल हो गए लगभग. So we started with play school. Play school means before 25 years back, the concept of preschool was not so popular, and the preschool means we'll send the child to a nearby auntie's house to spend some quality time. The auntie who's good, in the education, in our thought process, हम सोचते थे कि ये शायद आंटी रहेंगी जो अच्छे से बच्चे को कुछ सिखा पाएंगी. And when the 25 years back, when the play schools were started, or there were several play schools, when the play schools were there, they just had some puzzles or some toys or something like that only, some worksheets. But when we started our first preschool, we thought we should have some learning, activities. We should have some learning infrastructure, not only puzzles and toys, what is readily available 25 years back in the market too. So we created many role play models. Many role play models, we were the one who first came with. So we understood the need of the children. So gamification is not only the digital games, not only the applications, not only to play on the tablet or on the large screen or on the mobile. Gamification means you need to transform the learning into games basically. This is the duty of the educator, and this is the duty of educator to make the learning fun filled basically. So this is the human nature. Whatever we enjoy, that we retain. But unfortunately हो क्या गया कि हमारे यहाँ प्रेशर इतना है, शुरू से ही बच्चे को प्रेशर डाल दिया जाता है, कंपटीशन इतना है. But why we are not entering into this kind of thought process कि बच्चे को खेलने दो, सीखने दो और उसको अपने पेस पे चलने दो, तो शायद the child will come out with the better results. So the importance of gamification was there at my time also, and it will remain always. We need to innovate. We need not to focus on digital games only. We need to create many role play models, whether it is preschool or whether it is primary school. Till primary school, I am a strong advocate of physical gamification of the education.
Rightly said, sir. Absolutely right, sir. That we as educators need to evolve, experience, and experiment to make learning enjoyable for our children. Sir, can you please share any gamification tools, technology or resources that has impacted the learning outcomes in your experience or in your institutions?
Yeah, good afternoon and namaste. My name is Rajender Shah. I represent Shri Educare Limited. which looks after the Shri group of schools, Shri Universal group of schools. We have the, about 50 schools, which includes the play schools as well as K-12 schools. So I come with that background. Rathor Saab's rightly said that all the, those play schools, where they call the play schools. So idea is that our first preference, if all of us are given a chance, we will go outside and play. So if play is a huge motivation for all of us, right, how do we actually take and leverage this into the classroom transactions? There's a subtle difference between the gamification and game-based learning, right? While game-based learning has been there for a very long time, right, the gamification actually came to the fore primarily post-COVID, right, when everything was transacted digitally. One of the aspects of gamification is that how do we add those game elements to the learning outcomes or to the teaching learning material to make it more engaging? Because as educators, we believe and we learned that the lasting, the effect of the gamification improves many-fold if it is done in the right way at the right time. She said that, children experiment, right, more there, in the game-based learning environment. I feel that the game-based learning cannot be only restricted to the play schools or the primary schools. We need to take it beyond that as well. And we have seen some of the effects. One of our schools in the West, it's in the city of Hyderabad, we did a small experiment wherein we actually, because it's a very tech-driven population there, so we introduced an activity-based lab there with a private vendor, of course, right? And we wanted to see that what difference does it make, with the children learning and also the outcomes. It turned out that, because of the activities and the game-based natures and that PBL, the points, badges, and the leaderboard, right, the effect was enormous. And in fact, we had this allocated 1 or 2 periods a week wherein the attendance was the maximum. So children loved to come to those to the school on those particular days rather than the other days. So one of the challenges for the management for us was that what do we do with the other labs, right? CBSE mandates you have to have a composite lab, you have to have the other labs, right? What do we do? So which means that learning becomes more immersive, more engaging, and there's a fun element. Another aspect which is very critical here is, in the game-based or the gamification, right? There is no fail per se, right? You either lose or you succeed. So there's no fail element there, and that's why children enthusiastically participate there. So this is a very, very critical aspect, right? And also the fact that, children know that what is their target. See, if you're running a 100-meter race or a 200-meter race, right, you cannot stop at 90-meter or 190-meter. Then you get nothing. So therefore, they know that there's a target that we have to complete. Whereas a 90% in an academics is really celebrated one. The subtle differences between the two is where this gaming can be very, very transformative in class.
Rightly said, sir, that children, while playing, and when we add the game element to the curriculum, they're happy to re-attempt. They're very happy to, because the fear of failure is gone.
Absolutely.
And they're happy to work together. It fosters leadership qualities in children, teamwork, and it enhances their socialization skills. So my question to you is now, any challenges as educators that we face in aligning game elements to the curriculum?
Is it to me?
So anyway.
Yeah, okay. So plenty. There are plenty. One is definitely the mindset. See, we all believe that we have the teachers, right, from the traditional background, right, the chalk and talk method, right, changes are there. But again, it's not only the challenge from the educator's point of view, from the management point of view also, right? You make a class do a game-based learning or activity, then there will be some movement in the class. So again, there's a fear in the mind of the teacher that if the principal
discipline,
or the vice
discipline.
principal, right, moves around, right, then I'm doomed, right? So that's the kind of mind shift that we need. That is part one. The other is that how do we really make these game-based learning and sort of structure it better? Because so far, honestly speaking, right, the harder we try for it, right, it doesn't produce the same outcomes. So one aspect, I was in one of the conferences with the CBSE and I had a chat with the director there, right? CBSE, I'm talking about the CBSE because majority are the CBSE schools. Of course, it does apply to all the 61 boards as well. And again, CBSE has taken many strides, right, in changing the course structure and assessments. One way of, as I said, that the challenge is how do we actually make it a little more, make the teachers adopt it a little more than what they are doing right now, is actually that the end result of any teacher is that how will the children perform. Now, the performance of any child is done by the assessment or the exam. We are a very, very exam-obsessed society. So CBSE has done a remarkable job in introducing, competency-based, and the other boards are more or less also aligned to that. One aspect is that can we also, introduce that game-based elements or gamification in the assessment. Now, the minute you do it, right, trust me, right, it's going to filter down and percolate to the classroom transaction in the learning environment as well. So the content and the transaction will change provided you do that. And that's, I'm talking about the practical point of view. Because we did that, right? We say that let's do one thing, let's earmark about 30% of this, right, the weightage to the game-based one. And, those of you who are aware of the CBSE structure of the examination, the paper format, there's one question of the case-based question, CBQ. So we tried to change the CBQ, and I'm talking from the grade 6 to 8. We experimented there, let's change the CBQ of what they have learned in the class about that game-based learning, or the gamification, right? And it turned out, because they knew that there will be a question based on that, right? The motivation was more, and in fact, the engagement was also deep. So, as I said, right, that if we change the end result, right, the path to that outcome would be obviously a little more. You see, the other players, right, gaming is a huge industry now. It's going to touch about, I don't know, $30 billion, right, by end of 2026 or 7, right? And game-based learning itself is about 20% of that. So clearly, it is an industry that is flourishing, it's progressing, right? The question is that, and it has a CAGR of about 23%, which means it's progressing at the rate of 23%, which is amazing. Even we don't get the returns from the stock market like that, right? But how do we actually transact it and make sure that it is done at the school level? And that's what the challenge is. So one aspect I would see, and to address this, that change the assessments, include it in the curriculum in a way that children know that the my last mile is that when I get that a part of the assessment there, and I'm telling you, right, the results will be very profound.
Absolutely, sir. Assessment challenges do exist. And as educators, now we focus on holistic development of a child. We need to prepare the future leaders, the leaders of tomorrow, who are equipped with all sort of problem skills, handling abilities. Dr. S.K. Rathor, sir, I would just like that you would please share your opinion that how gamification, any personal experience, has impacted the learning outcomes in your institution, sir?
See, originally I am from IT background, so I worked with Wipro for 4.5 years, then I jumped into education sector. I started my own educational institution. So I used my IT knowledge. So when we started our preschool, then K-12 schools. So in 2009, since 2009, we have introduced gamification, digital gamification rather. Gamification तो हमने पहले दिन से शुरू किया. Digital gamification we introduced in 2009. So in 2009, there was no touch screen computer in country. There were no touch panels. There were no touch mobiles. But my schools had touch screen computers. So we created small kiosks for the children, young children of 4 years, 5 years, 6 years of the age. And we, there was no application in the country. There was no software to play with, education content-based software. So we brought some content from other countries. And that solution, that touch screen panels, small panels, the 15, 16 inches, 17-inch panels, not bigger one, and that content changed everything in my system. The children started learning very quickly. They started enjoying something differently because वो physical game तो खेल रहे थे वो, physically role play models के साथ तो वो सीख रहे थे, but that was new thing for the children. And the parent also accepted it. No parent come to us कि आप अपने हमारे बच्चे को कंप्यूटर पे क्यों सिखा रहे हो? Because screen time is also very negative thing what parent talk about. So that's the thing that changed the whole system in my chain of schools. Now during the COVID, everybody was experimenting something different. So we experimented, we started, we hired IT company and started developing augmented reality based application for our curriculum. There are so many applications. You go to Google Play Station or Apple iOS पे आपको मिल जाएंगे. But the content aligned with any augmented reality application for grade play group to grade 8th or 7th or 12th. So we created that. During the COVID, we used those 2 years what were very bad for everybody. We used those 2 years and we created that application. And today, whether it is a small child of 3 years, 4 years in my preschool, he enjoys or she enjoys his curriculum. She can see the elephant walking inside the classroom on the screen, not physically, obviously, walking in the classroom. And any object you can think about what we need to teach children of that particular age. And in the same way, then we engage some other organization for grade above the primary school. So all the content, most of the content rather, related to science and physics, chemistry, biology, that is converted into augmented reality application, and the outcome is fantastic, because the children who don't want to go to the normal labs, what labs you were talking about, compliances के लिए जरूरी है, those labs are necessary for the compliances only, but children wanted to go to the robotics labs, children are happy to go to language lab, they don't want to go to chemistry lab now. So now the children started enjoying those kind of application what they were not doing in the laboratory, they are doing in the IT room. So this is the kind of outcome what we have experienced. So I am a strong believer there should be a balance of play based learning, what physical play we are talking about, then digital content on the, because in case of higher classes, above grade 5, we should have digital content. In case of primary and pre-primary, we should have the balanced kind of things.
Right. If I can add something
please.
to it. While there has been a fair bit of success in terms of delivering the game-based content in a digital form, right, we still have to actually explore and find a way to have the, the tactile games, right, rather than the digital games, right? I was reading a report from the UDICE, right, that, and we are wearing a educator hat here, that only 57% of the schools in India, and there are about, 15 lakh schools, right, only 57% have the working computers. And only about 10 to 15, I'm not too sure, but 10 to 15% have smart board solutions. So think for a minute, right, if we are bringing these changes, right, these transformative changes to class, right, I mean, if about 15% of them only have that, those digital smart boards or the projectors, right, you have to also think about that 85% that are left behind.
So I just wanted to add to what you said. See, there are so many challenges in implementation of these kind of solutions, what we talk about, whether it is digital panels or we need computers or touch panels or application and this and that. So when we go to smaller cities, smaller town, or even in the city like Delhi, if we visit any budget private school, there's a challenge because they don't have that much of fund. They have limitation. They cannot, because they are charging very reasonable fee. They cannot save the money or take out the money to implement all these kind of things. At the same time, in government schools also, because sir is from the government sector, so government school also, now the government is investing so much of money for bringing out these kind of solutions in the government schools. But again, I'm sorry to say, sir, but again, because I am visiting many government schools also. In the government school, not all the teachers are willing to learn these things. That is the problem. So everybody, whether it is government institution or the private institution or budget institution, we collaboration की बात हो रही थी अभी इससे पहले सेशन में. So we need to collaborate. वो टीचर्स को हमें आगे आना पड़ेगा, जो हमारे गवर्नमेंट स्कूल के टीचर हैं उनको भी सीखना पड़ेगा. So I am a product of computer revolution. So when I was studying in my MSc. I did my MSc electronics. Then I did a specialization in computers, and immediately I got a job. But at that time there was hue and cry कि computer आ रहा है सब बेरोजगार हो जाएंगे. But after the computer came, the kind of opportunities came out is unlimited. So similarly, every teacher in the government sector, in the budget schools, need to understand they have to come up with the upgradation of their skills. Then only what things we discussed in these kind of rooms, that could be practically implemented in the education sector.
So we can conclude to this that yes, gamification in education is a science and an art of balancing game-based learning, game elements in the classroom teaching, along with the classroom teaching. It's a collaboration. And as ma'am just mentioned there, that yes, it is the teacher who makes a difference. The creativity of the teacher, a simple subject or a simple topic of mathematics also can intrigue the child's curiosity, inquisitiveness, can engage the entire class, make the classroom immersive if the teacher, along with her classroom teaching concept, adds a little game-based learning. So yes, one teacher definitely makes a huge difference to the entire learning outcome. She or he is the basic backbone that how a child is going to learn. A happy classroom basically starts from the teacher. The personality, the demeanor of a teacher reflects in her children. The discipline reflects in the entire class. As educators, even we mention that yes, this batch belongs to this teacher. Yes, they are disciplined. They are the achievers. So yeah, the teachers here play the most imperative role. And as educators, I would like to conclude that it is our responsibility, our duty, to give the best to our children, at the same time, to train the trainers, to train our teachers, to invest in our teachers' capabilities, their potential, and most imperatively, to channelize their energy in the right direction of the teachers and the students. It is our main prime responsibility here today. And by here, I conclude this panel discussion.
Can I add a couple
yes,
of
sir,
things?
Please.
So just 2 minutes, right? So again, this is again a study that we did. One of the aspects that we keep telling in all the training sessions is that for every topic a teacher is teaching these days in a classroom, right? There are 40 people teaching it on the YouTube as well, and maybe better than you, better than you. So what's your USP? What do you do? Again, as ma'am said, right? You have to involve that. You have to somehow integrate that game-based element into it. For that, your differentiator could be the other academic spaces in the school. Do not remain confined to the classroom only. You have the labs. Sir said that they remain unused to a larger extent, right? You have the dance, drama rooms, right? Why don't we take them there? You have the playground there. So that's one aspect that definitely can be looked into. One aspect more, again, we did this one workshop, right? So we requested one of the professors of IIT Delhi, Professor Lakshmi Narayan. He did it a session with us, and he's very famous there. In fact, he has got the best professor or best teacher award there about 2-3 years back. So what he does, he transacts curriculum through movies or related to movies, music, drama, etc. Coming from a professor, right, from IIT, it has that, that tag of IIT, right, isn't it? So what we found that, right, for the next couple of months, there was so much of enthusiasm among all the teachers to actually integrate that. That's where the previous session also, the trainers, that USP comes, right? We need to do those more sessions, include everyone, right? And those institutions of eminence should also come forward to help our teachers, right? Let's again assume, right, we have that government schools also where infra is good, maybe teacher capability has to be improved upon, right? Again, one US data, right, UDI's data is that the average salary of all the teachers, right, and mind you, there are many, many more, right? So it's about 33,000, but the average salary of a private school teacher is just between 10,000 to 12,000 rupees. I rest my case. Thank you.
Absolutely right, sir. We do have clubs, ample of clubs, innovation club, tourism club, culture clubs, drama, theatre clubs, where classroom concepts can also be inculcated. They can have a collaboration. We have science parks. We have facilities to give to the children. But then, again, it is the role of the teachers.
Yes.
So it's very imperative.
Till secondary classes, right, the utility of all the labs, and I include the computer lab also, if I leave that, about 70% of the time the labs are unused. And till secondary. Post-secondary, obviously, now it becomes, a different ball game altogether. That's something as educators we have to think about.
This is most of the schools, private schools, government to pata nahi mujhe, but most of the private schools, see, labs तभी यूज होते हैं जब एग्जाम आने वाले होते हैं. तो बच्चों को पता होना चाहिए कि लैब में कहाँ कौन सी चीज रखी है, जो एग्जामिनर आए और वो कुछ पूछे तो एटलीस्ट पता होना चाहिए.
तो मोस्ट सबसे ज्यादा गेमिफिकेशन को आप कर सकते हैं यूटिलाइज, सबसे ज्यादा वही हो सकता है.
सर वो तो हैंड्स ऑन एक्सपीरियंस है ना.
वेरी ट्रू.
तो वो तो जरूरी है, पर हमारे टाइम में तो लैब में लेके जाया करते थे, पर आज के बच्चे भी जाना नहीं चाहते हैं और बहुत सारे स्कूल लैब तभी यूज करते हैं.
बिल्कुल
70% जो आप बोल रहे थे वो बिल्कुल ठीक है.
So this is something I learned from my mother's experience, who's a principal from past 3 decades, that the spine, the backbone of an institution is the timetable. And it is our duty as directors, as principals, as vice principals to handle the timetable, to control and to allot the right amount of periods for science park activities, for computer labs, for language labs, for innovation labs, for composite labs, for all of these. This is what I have learned from my mother's experience, because it's been 3 decades I've seen her because my mother's journey started as a teacher, then as a principal for past 3 decades. But every single day, the timetable is in her hands. And she makes it sure that no period goes wasted for any child. Every period is utilized for every class, and that is the reason we have our learning outcomes are to a greater extent. This is our duty, that it is being designed in such a manner that the school is actually achieving the right amount of holistic, children are achieving the right amount of holistic development, and we are able to retain the teachers. More specifically, we are achieving our learning outcomes. And now we come up to any of the questions that we have. Question and answers. Yes, ma'am, please, yes.
Good morning, and it's a pleasure to hear the different viewpoints on this. I'm Nivedita. I'm a co-founder of Samatva Academics, and we deal with academic management and training, basically. My question is that, see, I have grown up in an age where I learned most of the soft skills through games with my friends. So that one stick used to be the horse, the one stick used to be the moped and the boundary of the house where you used to play. But today, we see that loss of imagination in the games by the children. We see because of the digital era also, we see that children don't imagine so much and so much of creativity when they are playing. So according to you, how can we bring back the concept of imagination so that the children not only learn the concept but also explore the boundaries of that concept in their own way?
Should I?
Sir,
Oh, sorry.
please.
Okay. Bring the joy back to class. See, all of you, if you are in a very happy state of mind, right, your imagination will go wild to any extent. The challenge with today's education system, and we are part of it, right, we're not blaming anyone, is that we have taken the joy out of that. We have become, as I said, see, we face a lot of challenges with some of the tier B schools, wherein our Shriram philosophy is that we don't have exams till grade 5. And ma'am, let me tell you again, I'm on record, right? So some of the principals will kill me. But there is that huge pressure that we have to have the exams. So the minute there is an exam, right, there is a fear. And the minute there is a fear, the imagination, what you're saying, the creativity, the problem solving, those skills will definitely not take place. We have to, again, I mean, there has to be a strong, I mean, I don't know why NCERT brought that circular or CBSE brought that circular that you have to read NCERT books till grade 5. There should be no books at all. Let there be playway, the way Sir is dealing with his schools, right? We have to have no exams till grade 5, honestly speaking, right? And we have seen it. I've seen it when I took my child to a play school, right? And this is in Vasant Kunj, I mean, this is decades back. So the only thing I said कि आप सब करेंगे लेकिन पढ़ाएंगे नहीं. Well, they needed the admission तो उन्होंने कर दिया लेकिन फिर भी पढ़ाया. And you know, my wife was also very perturbed when by the time my child was grade 3, grade 4, right? And then suddenly, you know, everybody else was writing alphabets. My son, I was playing with him and we both are educators. My wife is also an educator. But we were also worried at one point of time. But it turned out that the children flourish better. My children are doing very well, thanks to the Almighty, right? Primarily maybe because there was no pressure of that thing. And then that imagination thing happened, right? I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Ma'am, any practical that you asked, any practical approaches that I would love to add to it is storytelling that can be adopted by schools, storytelling activities, case study based activities where children are intrigued to write certain dialogues, to design a play, a role play, and for imagination, for creativity, if we have to enhance that in children, yes, art integration is very imperative. Thank you.
A very good afternoon
Good
to all.
afternoon, ma'am.
It was a pleasure listening to you all. And I endorse Navjot ma'am, your viewpoint.
Thank you.
In fact, everybody's, but towards the end, since you gave it towards the culmination and it winded it up. In schools, who decides the curriculum for till at least class 8th? Of course, principal is the teacher, but we are all the same. If you are on the same wavelength, and if curriculum is yours, and you have broadly 220 days, it's you who decide what is to be done, and which you very rightly said, that you put it on the timetable. And if the team has decided that we do not want to limit ourselves only to NCERT, which are the books that we follow at Gurugram also, but we want to go much beyond, nobody can stop you. I have my board exams for 10th and for 12th, which surely I will do. But even there, see as friends, NEP and NCF, वो सब वही बातें करता है जो मेरे ज़माने में शायद 70 की दशक में one of the best schools में थी.
Yeah, very correct, ma'am.
It is again those clubs and activities and everything which is happening. It was again those house systems and so on. A lot of gamification takes place even within the classroom and beyond. I'll give you one example. We have something called Joro Gyan for the very junior ones in the primary section. And yes, agreeing to Rathor sir's view, there's no exams till class 5. But there is regular assessment, diagnostic happening to see that the children are getting the worth of their coming to school. So जब वो games खेलते हैं वो dice के साथ, मुझे पता है कि वो multiplication, counting सब हो रही है. But we don't teach them tables, and tables are known. How does that happen? So schools, heads, principals, private, public, anybody, we all have to follow the right ordering of loyalty. हमने देना है. I feel blessed being almost 40 years around to be into teaching, that there's never a day when you don't come back happy, and there's so much to learn from children. आप decide करते हैं, आपके principal के साथ करते हैं, वो principal भी आप ही के जैसे हैं. Once upon a time a teacher, and so I would say make the best use of the lesson plans and things, and everything has to be there, because education is wholesome. वो सिर्फ NCERT की किताबों से नहीं होगी, वो भी ज़रूरी है. But a balance of both, a hybrid pattern, and that happens when we really are into the system. So whatever you said, no compartmentalization about books and examinations and this, वो सब ज़रूरी है ना. Assess कैसे करोगे आपके बच्चे को आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा, उसको fear phobia नहीं देना है. But yet it can happen, and it can happen till class 5 without. 6, 7, 8, curriculum is absolutely yours. You had ASL, you have all these things since years together. So there's nothing that is what we cannot do it. But it was a pleasure listening कि कम से कम इस hall के अंदर हम ये बातें तो कर रहे हैं. This is the success of the whole thing. कि आज हम मिलके बात कर रहे हैं, that means somebody will pick up something from somewhere and do it, and that one person makes a change. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing thought-provoking viewpoints and contributing to our panel. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, hi, this is Gaurav.
Good afternoon, sir.
And I've been listening to your conversation around gamification in education, which was, of course, very interesting. But I just wanted to get a sense from you that, you know, while we adopt this new technology, like Sir said, Rathor Sir said, we've been leveraging a lot of AI in terms of teaching to our children. So what is the cost implication of that? And if that cost implication is going to get percolated down to the students as well, raising their monthly fee and all that. So I was just trying to figure out, how do you see the viability of this gamification on the business side coming into schools?
So there are lots many ready-made applications are available in the market. There's many technology companies who are into the field. So we try to have our own application. That's why we put on our own money. Good amount of investment we did. We did because we have more than 250 schools across the country. So I can absorb that kind of investment. But if it is not possible for a single unit school, so you can have a third-party solution, and it's very reasonable. You should not go for any fancy or any big company, but there are lots many companies who are ready to contribute to your institution because they are startups. Many startups are there. They are ready to give you solution at very reasonable prices. Whether it is augmented reality application is concerned, or AI is concerned, or any IT solution to the school education is concerned. So I think there are many. You just need to find out the right person, which is who is good for your institution. That's it. And I tell you, we never, whatever we implement in our system, we never increase the fee on the basis of that. Because that is my call. I have to bring this into my system for the children. Parent never asks me कि आप ये कुछ करो मेरे बच्चे के लिए. तो जब मैं कुछ करना चाह रहा हूँ अपने इंस्टीट्यूशन के लिए, तो मुझे वो एब्जॉर्ब करना पड़ेगा कॉस्ट को. So I think we should not put down burden on the parents for any new thing. building कोई नहीं बनानी है, तो हमें अपने पैसे से बनानी पड़ेगी. तो सिमिलरली अगर कोई टेक्नोलॉजी लानी है तो हमें अपना पैसा डालना पड़ेगा. दैट्स इट.
Absolutely, sir. Anyone else with the questions?
Just a short question.
Yes, sir.
In the syllabus, NCERT or CBSE, whatever, in the book itself there are many activities, role play activities and projects, and then at the end of the term there are project work also, practical also takes place. But how honestly are we doing it? When the board exam takes place, the principal of the school, in every school, be it government or private, external examiner has to award as many marks as possible. Projects are purchased from the market. So we are actually cheating to our children in the school itself. And we are talking of gamification. If we do the project work honestly, if the actual experiential learning takes place, then I am very sure even CBSE is no less than IB board or any such board. So first of all, I think we should bring about honesty in the system. Then we talk of AI. AI, what it does? It acts on the already available data and creates something. Then the games are also. What, as someone said, that what about the originality? Originality is dying. So I think we should look after this aspect also. Gamification looks to be very great thing. We are moving technology. I think after some time we will become robots. And we will even stop thinking. So that is my concern. And then, as someone was saying that, you know, if you go even in your or my locality, what is happening today, that, you know, grandchildren or parents, grandparents or parents are taking the kids out to play in the park. Socialization is not taking place. So while doing everything, we should keep these aspects in mind. Otherwise, you know, right now, I got specs at the age of 47. Children are getting specs at the age of 3 years. So these things also we must look into. And when we think about these things, we think we are very highly progressive. And then what is happening in the West, that will also come here. Families will die out, socialization will not increase, and there are so many mental issues. I can tell you, if you go to government school, I'm saying about general, nothing against anyone. Children still touch the feet of the teacher, still in this 21st century. But normally private schools, I've worked in private schools also, but normally I have not seen that culture. So if we leave our roots, what will happen to the society? And so far as games is concerned, games are available everywhere. So I think all these things should be kept in mind. Thank you.
As educators, it is our prime duty, and I do believe that all the institutions are working towards building the ethical and moral fiber of our children. Because that being a good human is most imperative for excelling in any field of life. Thank you.
A sincere thank you to our panelists for such a meaningful and enriching discussion, and to our audience for being engaged. Also, I request our panelists to gather for a group photograph. Meanwhile, as we continue our discussion, so it's lunch time, so please enjoy the lunch served while networking, and we'll connect again.